Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Past the Scoreboard. We're back. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
baby.
yeah. After a little break, we're back. Of course, if you don't remember, I'm Gianluca.
And I'm Justin, and we're
Um,
here to talk sports, you know what I mean?
yeah. Last time we talked about the crappy Jays, and today we're gonna talk about
The Four
glory.
Nations,
Yeah.
because it ended
Last,
just a few
yeah.
days ago.
Last
So
time it was all doom and gloom. Today we're happy again. Um, So yeah,
yeah, right we
I
are.
guess let's talk about. First off, I want to talk before we get into the games with America. I want to talk about the tournament as a whole because I think many people going into this tournament kind of were like, "Eh, what's this really gonna like? Are the
Like be
players
as
gonna
good
be
as it is, right? Like
exactly? Are the players gonna be committed? Is just like an all? Is this gonna just be like an all-star game? Like stuff like that. But as soon
yeah.
as that first game between Canada and Sweden was underway, I think this is a thing the NHL should probably stick with because let's be honest, this is 10 times better than any crappy All-Star game. So
Oh,
I
for sure.
we'll talk about how often they should do this, but like they should keep this. Not every year, but they should keep
They
this.
should do it at least at some point.
Yes,
Like
keep
in
this
like
because
every 2 or 4 years, something
exactly.
kind of like
This was so much fun
mhm.
that you have to keep it going. So yeah, let's talk about the game the games. Um Canada, should we skip past Canada, Sweden, and Finland, America?
Probably. I mean, you know
All
what?
right. And
If
for
we're gonna keep
those,
this one a little shorter, I think
yes, Canada beat
we should talk
Sweden.
about the best moments. Yeah.
Yeah, Canada beat Sweden in overtime. Mitch Marner scored the winner in Montreal. That was fun. And then USA destroyed Finland. And yeah.
Well,
Okay.
hold on. It was close. It was like
It was close
1-1
heading
for
into the
40
third period.
minutes, and
Yeah,
then
it was
the
close
Kachuk
heading into the
brothers
third period.
both scored
Yes.
2 goals and just made
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Then Finland beat Sweden. Okay. Now, the first game between Canada and America, obviously it started with the Canadians booing the American national anthem,
Bad luck. Bad
which
luck.
probably wasn't the best idea. I don't think you need to
Yeah.
hype up any of the Americans more, but that probably just hyped them up more. So yeah, that probably wasn't a good idea. And then I didn't watch I missed a bit of that game, so I don't know how Canada looked in the first period after the whole three fights in 9 seconds, which is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm seeing like people who react to basketball on YouTube reacting to that game. That's
Because
how
it was
that's
pretty
how
crazy.
crazy that game in that moment was. But
Absolutely.
I missed most. I only really pretty much watched the third period, so I missed most of that game. Um, I think McDavid scored first, right?
Yeah,
And
he scored first,
then
and then basically from
Dylan Larkin scored to
yeah,
make it
from
1-1.
there on it was all America or all
Okay.
the US. So it was basically like McDavid did his thing, but you can't necessarily rely on him to
Right.
just do his thing all the time, especially when you're playing against the United States. They're a very good hockey
I
team, and
think USA had the I honestly think USA had the best roster because
yeah,
if you look at forward,
I would say skater wise, yeah.
yes, I would because
Canada and
I
US
would
at
say
least.
forwards are pretty even, but then I
Yeah,
would take America's defense and I would also take, well, I say take their goalie, but Jordan Binnington.
Connor freaking Hellebuck.
But Jordan Binnington, we'll get to that later. He might prove
Yeah,
us
oh
all
yeah,
wrong. But would
yeah,
still take America's defensive and goaltending core over Canada's. That's why I think
yeah.
America has the best roster, but like it's neck and neck. So really,
Yeah,
they're both right
it's so
there.
either way, like it could have gone either way, and that's exactly how it went for 2 games, right? So it
So
was,
yeah, USA beat Canada. You know, the Chuck, who was it, Brady or was it Matthew that said, "Oh, they don't probably don't have a group chat." You
yeah, it was
know,
Matthew. Matthew Kachuk
oh
was like,
yeah,
they
you know all
probably
that.
don't have fun. They probably don't have a group chat, and I mean,
Yeah, all that stuff. Okay, and then on the last day, Canada barely survives. Well, not barely. They survive a Finland comeback. Sweden beat
yeah.
America.
Well, I mean, you know what? You can almost say barely because it was 4-0, and then at
Yeah.
one point it was 4-3, and oh, you're like, well, that's not what you wanted because it's like
Yeah.
if you're up 4-0, you shouldn't be like it
And
shouldn't be close. You know what I
that
mean?
game ultimately, because if Canada only went to overtime in that game, they would have got knocked out because
Yeah,
Sweden
yeah,
ended up
exactly. Because
beating
Finland,
in
right? So
regulation. So
yeah,
yeah,
so it
that
matters. It very much matters.
that ended up being pivotal. So then, yeah, we get to the championship game, and this game probably had the biggest buzz out of any hockey game I remember, probably since the 2010 Olympic final between the
Yeah,
two
I'd
teams.
say of the men's national teams or of the
I
yeah, I'd say of them because there was also that World Junior game where the U.S. shut out Team Canada. I know it's juniors, but like
was that 2021?
yeah. When it
That's
was
when Trevor
Spencer Knight,
Zegras,
yeah,
Trevor
Trevor
Zegras was.
Zegras. It was
That was a
the
really good. That
Zegras,
was a
yeah,
really good American team. But yeah,
yeah. But
um,
of the
yeah,
professional guys, I guess is what I'm
yeah.
saying.
Out of the professional senior hockey, this is probably the most hype up game that I've ever like.
Yeah, since 2010,
I would even say
I
more than
would
2010. I was young. I was 11 years old, but from what I remember, this had more because during 2010, I think there was no political uh
oh that's yeah no
there was
that's
no
fair.
political
There wasn't
thing. It
any
was
like yeah no
yeah,
that's
it
very
was just purely hockey. Like um whereas this it had lots of
well that's why all the booing was taking
exactly.
place, right? Because it's like
Yeah.
because
I
you know
mean,
Canada and the US some things are happening
so
right now, but
yeah. So let's talk about the game. My opinion was for the first 40 minutes, I thought Canada were the slightly better team.
yeah
We'll talk about the scoring. Oh God. McKinnon opened the scoring with a really good shot.
yeah oh yeah
Who got the equalizer for America?
it
I know
was
Sanderson. I know Sanderson made it 2-1.
Sanderson gave them the
Yeah.
lead.
Who because
Um,
the 1-1 goal was like a in close shot from Matthews. I think it was
yeah,
Brady.
it was
Was
I
it
think it was
Brady?
Brady Kachuk
Yeah. I think it was him who put it home. And then yeah,
and then Sanderson.
and then Marner set up Sam Bennett, who
Yeah.
I thought Sam Bennett was probably a top three Canadian on the ice um for the game. Uh yeah, and that set up the third period. I thought the third period it was all America. Um
Yeah, you
they took control for the like the flow went through them.
like they very well made us look like made
Yeah.
all the fans think like, oh no, like
Yeah.
it's not gonna be great, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
And like they had most of the possession. Both teams traded chances though, because I think
yeah. In a way it was even, but in a way it wasn't even because the
like
US did get a
when you
lot
have
off, but
those two good of a team, two teams, they're
yeah.
obviously going to keep trading chances. So
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
You just
All
don't
right,
know,
and
right?
then anything interesting happened in the third period? I'm trying to remember. Not, I mean, not
Uh,
really.
anything in the third?
I don't think
To
so,
be
right?
honest, I don't nothing necessarily stood out to me that was that like changing or anything. I mean, you know, obviously we'll get into it, but I think if anything, the overtime was where there were a lot of moments where it could
Oh,
have been
overtime there
like,
was tons,
yeah,
tons.
right. Like it could have been so different,
Well,
or
okay.
like the game could have been like, yeah, obviously Canada won, but it could have and very well ended up the other way.
So yeah, let's get into overtime. Overtime was like the third period. I thought America were better. Um, I thought Austin Matthews was the best American the whole game. Um,
I would say that up until the end.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Up until
Yeah,
the end, I thought he was fantastic. Like
yeah. Oh yeah.
everything went
Well,
through
listen,
him.
he got he got on the board twice. Two of
To assist.
the two primary assists were him.
Yeah.
So he was definitely he was stepping up like he should have, right? Because that's one thing he's criticized for is not being able to do that. But I think it's fair to say he did that literally until the final goal was
Until
scored.
the final goal. So the final goal was off a face-off. I'm pretty sure McDavid won the face-off. I
Yeah,
don't know.
and then
I don't really know what happened
I
after
think
that. All
it
I
was you know they're just in the zone, Makar, and
yeah.
then
And
Marner
then
had it. He drew, I believe he drew all three of the Americans
yeah,
to him,
because
or
that's
he at
because
least he drew two of them because we'll get
yeah,
into
because
he drew two of them. Yeah,
Matthews left the middle of the ice and
yeah, he
skated to
left,
him.
dude. he
He
left the
left the
best,
best player in the
yeah, the
world just
best hockey
open. Who
player
McDavid
alone in
was
the
pretty
slot.
meh. Let's be honest, McDavid had a mad game. He wasn't
Up
that
until
good.
then, yeah, it was like he was there, but he didn't have any
No.
big impact plays or anything, or
Yeah.
it was
So,
obviously, McKinnon got on the board, but he was just a horse throughout this whole
yo,
tournament for
McKinnon was
Team
great.
Canada.
He was
So
great.
there's a reason he was named the MVP, right? So, but
Yeah, he was really good. So yeah, the goal, McDavid, I mean, it's just so like crazy how 15 years ago it was Crosby who was the golden child for Canada
yeah,
hockey.
and now
And
it's
now it's the
Connor McDavid.
exact same position. It's literally the exact Canada beating USA 3-2 in overtime was the same
Yeah,
score line to
yeah.
like
Oh man, it was
it's just
unbelievable.
so crazy to think about like that. Like it's just yeah, it's just crazy. Canada,
How things can be so similar from such a
yeah,
far.
from such a
Right.
far time frame. So
Yeah.
Canada
Oh yeah.
now, I think they've won like the last. So Vancouver 2010, Sochi 2014, the World Cup of Hockey in 2016, and now this tournament. They've won the last five best on best um, tournaments. Canada do not have a foothold domination on hockey anymore. For people who think that's the case, um, that's just not true because America's right there. Um, all these
Oh,
countries are so,
absolutely.
all these
The
countries are
U.S. is
so,
there, and honestly, Finland is there. And if the
you're right.
Russians were allowed to play, I
They
think
would
it
be
would have
there.
been,
They would have been
oh,
there too.
easily, easily. I think if the
So,
Russians were in this tournament, it might be a completely different outcome.
I would still probably favor Canada because the
What
defensive,
I'm okay, yeah, okay, true, true, true.
but I
I
know
would
what
I
you're
would
saying.
say, yeah,
I
like
know
it
what
would
you're
be
saying.
like Russia could make like the absolute biggest difference in this
Yeah,
tournament.
but for we all want Russia back playing hockey, but
Yeah,
you
but
know,
I mean, you know what? As long as politics around, it might not be
exactly. It
that might not be a
sucks.
thing. It's
And
unfortunate, and you know what? I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but in a
no,
way,
no,
it's stupid because they say you shouldn't bring politics into sports, but by
sports.
banning Russia, that's exactly what you're doing. I'm sorry.
That's just what that just sounds good, but it's not actually followed. Like
Yeah, no, and it's like, and the thing is too, it's like it's not Russia it's not those Russian NHL players that are
exactly.
doing
It's
anything
not
bad,
those
right?
NHL players. It's not the
It's like
Olympians who
yeah, like you
train.
can't blame them for being from Russia, right? It's like
Yeah.
if Canada or the United States did the same thing, it would be the exact same thing. Like you can't like there's nothing wrong with them because they're from there or because
And
they
then
happen to represent them, right?
and
So
yeah, and all these tournaments without Russia, it does feel like something's missing because they're hockey powerhouse.
oh, because they are unreal. They are
Yes.
unreal.
I
And
mean, what was their projected first line in this tournament will probably be what? Uh,
Ovi,
Ovechkin, Panarin,
Ovi, Panarin, and
Malkin? I don't know Malkin.
yeah,
I don't, maybe
maybe
Malkin.
maybe Malkin, but like listen, that already
Trying to
is
think.
like
I'm trying to think of a
that's
better
already
center.
a yeah, I was gonna say that's a scary line already. Like, come on. Like Malkin, like listen, if it wasn't for Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin would be in the position that Sidney Crosby is in for Pittsburgh. Like, let's be real. He's the
No,
best. Or
for sure.
I would say, but you know what I mean. He would get more recognition than he does now because of, obviously
Yeah,
Crosby, Sidney
Malkin
Crosby.
was
So
gross. He won MVPs. Did
yeah,
he
he
ever win the
was.
scoring title?
I don't know if he won a scoring title, but he did win the cup like three times, and he
Yeah,
certainly played a
he's
role in a lot of those. So
he's ridiculous.
yeah,
Um,
like
did you even see you know Steve Dangle, right?
oh my God, I love Steve
Did
Dangle.
you see his clip what he said when Canada won? You cannot take our country and you will never have
Yeah,
this trophy. I thought that was iconic.
welcome to the 11th province, right? I'm just
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a joke
I
for
thought
everyone
Yeah,
forever.
exactly.
Watching
I
is a
thought that was
joke.
such an iconic line because obviously,
Because the U.S. like with the way they are, especially their politicians, they're very Americans are very patriotic, right? So they're all like, "Oh, we're gonna become their 51st state." It's like
I
Well,
don't think.
if you can't, don't dish it if you can't take it, right?
Yeah,
So
I think that was just an iconic like way to. I didn't take that as a political jab. I just took that as like,
banter, kind of,
yeah,
right? Or like,
like okay, no, we won. Like the
yeah, yeah. And it's like, you know what? How fitting that it's Connor McDavid in overtime, like you said, with the final 3-2 score,
okay.
against the United States, and how fitting, right?
I want to talk about next year the Olympics in Milan. Um, will there be any roster changes for Canada? I mean, Josh
I
Morrissey was
mean,
the one. Josh Morrissey was the one who got injured early on, right?
you got no, that was Shea Theodore.
Shea Theodore. Yes, sorry,
Josh
Shea Theodore.
Morrissey, he got sick.
Okay, right. So
But
Shea Theodore.
a lot of players in the tournament were getting sick. So that's why guys are getting called in, and or the
So yeah.
scratches were playing
So
extra.
I'm assuming there's not going to be no Drew Doughty uh next year. Um,
You
I'm
know
assuming
what?
there's not going to be,
I could see, honestly, I could
but
see,
even he makes sense as like a elite veteran, like a veteran leader.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And but you know what? One guy I could kind of see staying in the lineup is the I believe it was the eighth. It would have been the eighth defenseman because if two of them, because they had seven, two of them got
Is it
bumped
Thomas
out.
Harley?
Yes, it is Thomas
Thomas
Harley.
Harley played pretty good.
You know what? Like
Yeah.
for a guy who I believe is like the second youngest, who was the second youngest player on this team because he's only 23. Him and Seth Jarvis are 23, but Thomas Harley is born earlier, but his birthday's in August, so obviously he's not going to be
Speaking of
23
Seth
yet.
Jarvis, that dude's incredible.
Yeah, you know what? There's a reason he
Oh
has
my
such a bigger role
God.
when he plays for Carolina, and it's because
He is so good. He's
that guy's
everywhere.
unreal. That guy's unreal. He's on the penalty kill. He plays on the power play. He can play on the first line. He can play on the third line. He can play. He
And
has a whole
America
wonderful game,
has
right?
such a great decoy. They were even missing McAvoy.
Yeah, yeah. That's right. McAvoy was not playing for them either.
Like their defense
Um,
is insane.
yeah,
So that's why I say
it's
they probably have the most stacked roster.
I'd
But yeah,
say yeah, yeah.
Milan next year will be fun. Um, Bennington probably will have. Bennington could be crap for the rest of the season and be crap from next season onwards to when they leave for Milan. I still think he should probably start just because of what he did in this tournament. I mean,
I'd
there's
say,
no
you know what? To be honest, I would say him or their backup because their backup is
Montembeau?
Hill.
Hill or Aiden Hill, right? Yeah.
Montembeau is the third guy, and
Yeah,
but
I forgot.
yeah, sorry, yeah, but
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, yeah, but the reason I'm saying Aiden Hill is because he like at the moment he actually plays for a team that wins games
Wins.
and that
Yeah,
goes
that's
to the
fair.
playoffs. And if you think about it, like Binnington, yeah, listen, it's not a bad goalie, right? But his numbers since the year that he won the cup, they have not been
Oh, they've been
like,
terrible.
yeah,
But
listen, they've been awful. They have like, there's some years where he goes like, if I'm not
he's
mistaken,
a
there's
big
some
game
years
player though.
he is, but guess who also is?
Aiden
Aiden
Hill.
Hill.
Aiden Hill is a big game player.
And Aiden Hill proved that by sending Vegas. So like there was one series when Vegas won the cup in 23. It was against Thomas Harley, funny enough, in the Dallas
Huh?
Stars. Aiden Hill was unbelievable, right? The first two games they won in overtime, right? And the Stars kept coming back and whatever. But Aiden Hill was shutting the door. He was making saves right, left, and center. He was shutting the door. He was stopping Dallas's best guys. Like honestly, I'm sorry to Jordan Bennington. Like, yeah, he stepped up and he proved maybe this tournament at least. But I think Aiden Hill should have been or should be their number one because that guy's unreal. And if Canada's defense and if they bolster up their defense and play with a proper defense, then Aiden Hill will be even better. Because you look at Vegas, their defense is terrific, right?
No, yeah, you make fair points.
Yeah, like
Um,
again, it's not a knock on Bennington. I'm just saying also just because Aiden Hill has like since coming to Vegas has just been unreal for
you make fair points.
he's
Um,
just been terrific.
to round it off, then let's predict let's predict the medal finishes for
Oh
next
no.
year. I'm gonna say I'll say gold Canada because I'm biased. Um, I'll say silver. I want to say America, but I'll
Oh my
change it up.
God.
I'll say freaking. You know what?
You know,
I'll
let's give it
say
to the Finns. Let's give it to the
I'll say
Finns
the Finns. I'll say the Finns get in there.
because
Slowly.
they have a very, very solid team as well.
Hey,
So
you know
I think,
what, Bronze? I'm taking Cheka. All right, give me Pasternak, David
ooh,
Camp, uh, Martin Nikas. Give me the Czechs.
oh, Nietzsche's, yeah, that
He's
guy's
good.
gross.
Yeah, the
That guy's
Czechs. They were in
nasty.
this tournament. They would give people problems too. Their bottom six is not as good as Canada, Sweden, America put together.
Or the United States,
Yeah,
you know, like,
but
oh no,
there's
Russia will be in it.
I don't think.
Or
Well, I
wait,
think
wait, wait,
that
wait.
still has to be determined. I think that still has because the double IHF recently banned them again for the next season, but the final say is with the IOC, and the
Yeah.
IOC
So
is not. They're
Russia's
not.
because okay, listen. So I'm on the page right now,
I no, I
and
checked it out too, but it says Russia, but it should have an asterisk too.
yeah. So
Yeah,
okay, I'll
yeah.
say this. I'll say this. I'll say if the Russians are in this tournament, I think they'll. I think it'll be Canada, Russia in the final. I'm saying if they're in this tournament.
Okay, yeah, I can
Um,
see that.
to be honest,
But
like
it won't be called Russia. It will be called Russian Olympic
no,
Committee.
yeah, just like they did before. But listen, they'll still be wearing the flag of the
No,
motherland,
the
or they're
weird thing
not the
is
flag, but
though.
you know what? They'll still
The
be
weird thing is
representing the
though is if they
motherland.
win, they won't have the anthem because it'll be some
Yeah,
generic.
because it's because you
And the
can't.
Russian anthem
Yeah,
goes hard.
yeah.
Every
Oh,
time.
have you heard it like the juniors and stuff when they win
Yes, you know what I
stuff?
think about was the 2011 team when they won against Canada.
Panarin, it was Panarin.
Panarin,
Like the
Tarasenko, was Kuznetsov
dude,
on that
like
team? They had a really good team.
I think so. So
They had a
okay,
very
so you know what? I'll say in the final, if the Russians play, it'll be those two, and then if the Russians are still banned, I think you're right. It'll be the Finns, if not the United States. Um,
and I'm putting Czechia.
it's a boring answer, but you know what? And you know what?
How
For
about Germany? Big up Leon
I was gonna say, you know what? I was gonna say for a bronze medal,
Did they even qualify?
give me the yeah no they're in
They're qualified.
give me the
Okay.
Germans, because if I'm not
Who else?
mistaken,
Who else do they have besides Draisaitl?
Moritz Seider,
Oh,
they
okay.
have Tim
Okay. Yeah.
Stutzla.
Oh
Um,
my God. Yes. Yes.
listen, their
Yeah.
team is, and
No,
you know
that's
what? They
pretty
have
good.
some. So this is I'm gonna read some of the guys from their 2024 team.
Okay.
Um, there's only two here, or
Like
there's
from the
only
World
like
Championship?
yeah from the IHF World Championships.
Okay.
There's only like three of them that currently play on an NHL team, but they're still three decent impact players. It's JJ Paterka, who plays for the
Okay.
Sabres.
Sabres. Yeah.
Um, oh, there's actually multiple. There's more. There's Reichel, Lucas Reichel, who plays in Chicago. He's okay. For
Are
the
they
role
still
that he
be,
plays there, he's
are they
pretty
still beating the
solid.
Leafs?
Yeah. And then
Oh.
Nico Sturm, who plays for the
Oh.
Minnesota Wild. I don't know. Yeah, is it the Wild? Yeah, because he's on
Oh,
their
I don't know,
fourth
man.
line. He's
I'm
on their
so
fourth line.
listen, I'm so lost with the rosters.
He's on
Okay.
their fourth line, but he makes a pretty good fourth line center because he plays on I believe he plays on their second power play, and like they even throw him out on penalty kills sometimes. And then of course there's Leon Draisaitl. There's no way that Moritz Seider doesn't get selected or
They
Tim
already
Stützle.
have the groups too. The groups are determined too, right? I think Group A is like Canada,
Yeah.
Sweden,
So Group A of this tournament will be Canada, Sweden, Switzerland, and then some of your hometown folks, Italia,
Italy.
Italy.
Oh, poor
Yeah.
Italy.
Or
Bro, I
yeah,
cannot
honestly,
name you
because
one
like
Italian hockey
oh,
player.
actually, you know what? I'm gonna change my answer for the bronze. I'm gonna go Latvia.
Oh, and remember Latvia in 2014? They almost beat Canada.
And I believe they won the Latvian
The
team won their
junior, they
first
won the
ever
junior.
medal.
They also beat
Oh
Canada
yeah.
in
Well, they
juniors.
beat us there, but like this specific team, the men's national team, they won the bronze medal. People don't realize this, but they defeated the United States in the bronze
In
medal
the
game.
2023 World
Yes,
Worlds.
Yes,
I
dude.
remember that.
That was
That
crazy. It
was the
was like,
bronze medal, right? That was the
yeah,
bronze medal
I
year.
honestly, that's probably the happiest I've ever been for any team outside
And
of
it
Canada.
wasn't it in Latvia too?
Yeah,
Isn't
yeah,
that
yeah. It
right?
was
Yeah, I
it
remember
was in
that.
Latvia. So how fitting that they get to win their first medal
The
on
thing
home
is
ice.
with international hockey here is that you expect the Canadians, Americans to like swamp these teams 11-0. That's not going to happen. These
No, yeah, yeah,
teams,
because you know what? These teams are developing their
they're
programs and stuff.
professionals. They
Yeah,
played
and
together for
yeah,
years. They know
and
how to
like
play hockey.
listen, just because they don't play in the NHL doesn't mean that they can't
Yeah.
give the Canadians, the Americans, the Finns, the Swedes a run for their money, right? Like, look
But
at
Italy,
Germany.
listen, Italy, I'm gonna tell you this now. I could not name you one Italian hockey player. They're probably gonna do what the Italian baseball team did and just like
Just
recruit
get all the quote unquote American attack, like all the guys who
Exactly.
want to represent Italy.
Yeah, they're gonna get all
Listen,
the Italian
listen,
Canadians.
that's what Israel did for their baseball team too. I
And
believe they got like a bunch of the guys who are from the United States but can represent
they're
Israel to
gonna
play
get
for
bring up
their World Baseball Classic team.
Andrew Cogliano.
Honestly, I can't even think of guys who would be on their team in
Cogliano,
Italy.
Koliakovo, all these
Like
guys.
I'm trying to think on like because
Yeah,
like
I
does
wouldn't. I can't
Cogliano
tell
even
you.
play on an NHL roster
No,
though?
no, I don't think so. But is he still around? Possibly.
Probably, but like
Bring
I don't
him
know.
in.
Let me look it up because like
Bring
it's
him.
interesting, right? Because and then you know what it's obviously it's they probably won't do well, but again, you just don't know, right? Like look at
Hey, it's in their
Latvia.
home. It's in their home. I don't think people
Yeah, it
really
is
care about
it
hockey.
is.
I don't think people know the rules of hockey. Um, maybe they can beat
But
some.
hey, you know what? We'll I'll look up their world championship roster from a year ago, even though they didn't play in the top division
Oh yeah. How
because
did they
they
qualify?
played in the second
Oh,
one.
they're the host. They're the host. That's why
Yeah,
they
they're the
qualify.
host, so they qualify.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
in the actual world championships,
Oh, I can't wait
they're
to
not in
see.
it. They're
I
in
can't
the
wait to see Italy versus Canada.
oh man, it'll be unreal.
All
Honestly,
right.
like those kinds of countries, right? It's fun in a way though. It's nice though because it's like it's growing the game, right?
Oh,
Even with
yes.
baseball, right? Like you see the
Dude,
World Baseball Classic, like
this
when
Four
the Czech
Nations,
Republic played, like it was crazy.
this Four Nations should get be on, like you said, every 4 years. Put it
Yeah.
on. Let's keep play because it's growing the game. But the thing that they should do is expand it.
Oh,
To
absolutely. They
plus-
should be
Put
expanding
it to six, maybe five.
6, 8, something like eight.
No,
I
no.
would.
Well,
Well,
they also announced the World Cup of Hockey in 2028.
yeah. Well, here's the thing. I would say like anywhere between. I would say 6 teams minimum because then it becomes a real tournament, right? Not just some round robin.
Right,
Like
right. So
you know what I mean? But
I would say if you're going to keep the World Cup of Hockey, then
then you
this
should keep
does.
this too because
But
this
then,
was
but then you
unreal.
could. But if you keep this, keep it still as four.
Yeah.
Like
Okay. True.
if
True. True. True.
if you keep the World Cup of Hockey, I would say keep this as 4 or 5. Let Russia in. Russia deserves to be
Okay.
in this.
Yeah.
Let Russia in this. Call it the Five
Yeah. Oh.
Nations.
Oh. Absolutely.
Call it the
Absolutely.
Five Nations. Have Russia in.
Maybe even the Czechs.
No, I wouldn't put the Czechs in because the Czechs. Let's be honest. You know what? Here's what you do. Here's what you do. My brain.
What
Say
do I do, Gianluca?
say in the Olympics. Okay, you make the top four. You go to the Four Nations. Boom.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
then
you know what?
And then
That's
that settles it. And then every 4 years, you run back the Four Nations. You run the World Cup, Olympics every 2 years because hockey is this only game that doesn't have best on best like these tournaments when they
yeah.
should. Baseball's done it
Yeah.
recently. They've gotten their stuff together. They have the World
The
Baseball
World
Classic.
Baseball Classic
The
was
players are
incredible. I don't know if people
top
remember that,
players
but
are committing to
yeah.
that, So that's a hit. Soccer, obviously, is.
And the tournament was just unreal. I don't know if you were watching it 2 years ago, but
Oh no, it was great. Otani.
it was probably some of the most fun I've ever had
It
watching a
was
game of
spent. It was really good. Otani
baseball.
striking out Trout to
It
win
was
to win.
unreal.
Yeah, Otani striking out Trout to win
And then
the.
the Czech Republic electrician striking out
Who
Otani on
was
three
on the
pitches.
Czech
That
team?
was, hey, everyone can play, right? Anyone can play,
Exactly.
which is I guess what
Vinny
Italy is going to be trying to
Pasquantino.
prove.
Vinny
Yeah,
Pasquantino.
yeah,
All right, so
unreal.
that's
Okay,
yeah, we're gonna wrap up now. Um, Thank you everybody for watching. If you like this video, drop a like, do
and
all
then
that stuff.
subscribe. You know what?
Even
Anything is
heck,
good. Just
comments. You can even comment saying, you guys are assholes. Anything.
you could
Anything
flame
is
us. You could flame
yeah.
us. You can do whatever you want. Just
You can roast my
here. Listen,
facial hair.
we're here to
Like
have fun.
exactly. You can call a stupid Canadian CN Tower, Drake. Yeah.
Toronto.
Yeah. And yeah. But yeah, thank you everybody so much for watching.
Be
Yeah.
safe. Be safe, and we'll see you at the next episode coming in a few days because
Yes.
we have a very fun topic to get back to. So
Jays are
yeah,
screwed. Okay. Bye everyone.
that's your preview. Take care,
Yes.
guys.
Yes.